The average American household carries $104,000 in debt. Not net worth, not mortgage value, debt. Money owed to people who are not family, to institutions that do not know your name, at interest rates that were designed by someone whose job was to make sure you never fully pay it off. Credit cards, car loans, student loans, medical bills, home equity lines, buy now, pay later plans for things you no longer own and can no longer remember buying. 104,000. That is the average. Half of American households carry more than that. Now, I want to show you something different. There are communities in this country, Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, Holmes County, Ohio, Shipshewana, Indiana, where the average household carries almost no consumer debt, where homes are owned outright, where businesses are started without bank loans, where families raise children, run farms, build furniture, start bakeries, without a single credit card in their wallet. Not because they are poor, because they made different decisions about what money is for. The Amish are not wealthy by the standard measure, but they are almost universally financially free in a way that most Americans will never experience, and most financial advisors will never teach you, because there is no commission in teaching you what they know. Today, Hidden Harvest is going to show you exactly how they do it. Not the vague version, not the inspirational summary, the actual principles, one by one, with the specific mechanics behind each one and exactly how to apply them to a modern life. Stay with me. The Amish did not arrive in America with a financial philosophy. They arrived with a theology. When the first Amish families crossed from Switzerland and southern Germany in the early 1700s, fleeing religious persecution that had cost many of them everything, they brought one conviction that has shaped every financial decision their communities have made for 300 years since. Dependence on institutions is dependence on people who do not share your values and do not care about your survival. For the original settlers, this was about religious freedom. If you owe the bank owns you. If you owe the government controls you. If your community depends on outside systems for survival, outside systems can destroy your community. So they built inward. They built community lending circles instead of going to banks. They built barns together instead of hiring contractors. They passed land between generations instead of selling to developers. They started businesses with savings instead of loans. Over 300 years, what began as religious conviction became ingrained cultural practice. A complete alternative financial system operating quietly inside the borders of the wealthiest consumer nation on earth. The statistics that have emerged from academic research on Amish economic life are remarkable. A 2020 study by researchers at Elizabethtown College found that Amish business failure rates are approximately 5%, compared to the national small business failure rate of over 50% within 5 years. A study published in the Journal of Amish and Plain Anabaptist Studies documented that Amish home ownership rates exceed 90%, with the majority of those homes owned without a mortgage. These are not accidents. These are the results of a system, and the system has 7 principles. The first and most foundational Amish financial principle is a distinction most modern households never make. There is a difference between an asset that builds your life and a purchase that performs wealth for other people. Amish families save aggressively for land, for tools, for livestock, for the equipment that produces income. These are things that grow in value, generate return, or directly reduce monthly expenses. What they do not finance is lifestyle. No car payment on a vehicle that loses 20% of its value the moment it leaves the lot. No credit card balance for a vacation that exists only in photographs. No furniture loan. No appliance financing. No subscription services stacked invisibly on a bank statement. Research from the Federal Reserve Bank shows that the average American household spends approximately $1,500 per year on interest payments alone. Not principal, just interest, on consumer debt for depreciating goods. Goods that will be worth nothing in 5 years, while the interest payments continue. The Amish call this kind of spending paying to have less. You are spending money to own something that immediately begins losing value, while the lender gains from your impatience. The principle is not deprivation. It is sequencing. Save first. Buy when the savings are there. Never pay interest on something that does not generate return. Save this video. This is one worth coming back to. The principles get more specific and more practical from here. When a young Amish couple is ready to buy land or start a business, they rarely go to a bank. They go to the community. Amish communities operate informal lending networks, sometimes called community funds, where established families with savings lend to younger families at low or zero interest. The loan is secured not by a credit score, but by community membership and reputation. Default is not just a financial event, it is a social one. The incentive to repay is not a collections department. It is the people you will sit next to at church on Sunday. When a family member is sick and medical bills arrive, the community covers them. When a barn burns, the community raises a new one, in a day, with labor that costs the family nothing. When a business needs startup equipment, community members loan tools, share vehicles, provide labor. Economists at Ohio State University who have studied Amish economic networks describe this as a form of social capital insurance, an informal system that performs the functions of health insurance, business loans, home improvement financing, and disaster relief simultaneously, with zero administrative overhead and zero interest. The modern equivalent is not complicated. It does not require a religious community. It requires choosing your financial relationships more deliberately, finding people whose values align with yours, and building reciprocal networks of genuine support rather than transactional relationships with institutions that profit from your dependency. Amish households maintain written records of every financial transaction. Not apps, not auto-categorization. A physical ledger, reviewed weekly, written by hand. This is not nostalgia. This is neurological. Research from Princeton University's Psychology Department on financial decision-making found that physical writing of expenditures activates different cognitive processing than digital logging, producing measurably higher recall, higher emotional engagement with the numbers, and significantly higher likelihood of behavioral change in response to what the numbers show. When you write down that you spent $340 last month on food delivery, your brain processes that differently than when an app quietly categorizes it in a dashboard you check twice a year. The Amish practice of written household accounting is not about the format. It is about the attention. Money that is not watched leaves without permission. Money that is watched stays accountable. Start a ledger. Paper. Pencil. Every dollar in, every dollar out, written by hand, reviewed every Sunday evening. The first month will show you things that will change how you spend money for the rest of your life. If this is useful to you, subscribe now. Hidden Harvest releases a new forgotten principle like this every week, and YouTube will not always put it in your feed. The standard modern financial sequence is: get a job, spend to the level of the job, accumulate the lifestyle, then try to build savings from whatever is left. The Amish sequence is reversed. Build an income source first, keep living costs at the minimum until the income is stable. Build comfort slowly from surplus, never from debt. Nearly 70% of Amish men operate or co-own a small business, according to research published in Entrepreneurship Theory and Practice, a rate more than 3 times the national average. These businesses, furniture making, construction, farming, food production, metalwork, are started almost universally with saved capital and community support, not bank financing. The modern application is not start an Amish furniture business. It is the sequence. Before upgrading your lifestyle, before the larger apartment, the newer car, the kitchen renovation, build the income source that produces the surplus that pays for it. Comfort funded by surplus is permanent. Comfort funded by debt is rented. The modern household buys everything individually. Every family on the street has its own lawnmower, its own ladder, its own pressure washer, its own set of tools used twice a year, each purchased, financed, stored, and eventually discarded alone. Amish communities share capital equipment across households. Tools, farm equipment, specialized machinery, owned collectively or rotated between families. The cost of one good piece of equipment is split across 5 households that each use it 20% of the time. Each household pays 20% for 100% of the utility. Research from the Sharing Economy Lab at the University of Michigan found that equipment sharing networks among rural households reduce individual capital expenditure on durable goods by an average of 40% annually. This is not complicated. It requires one thing: trust built through genuine community rather than transactional relationships. The single most financially destructive feature of modern consumer culture is the shortening of the time horizon. Buy now, pay later, upgrade every 2 years. This season's model, this year's trend. Financial researchers at Harvard Business School have documented what they call temporal discounting, the cognitive tendency to value immediate rewards far more heavily than equivalent future rewards. Modern advertising, credit card design, and retail financing structures are all built specifically to exploit this tendency. The entire consumer credit industry is a machine for harvesting the difference between what you would pay for something in cash today and what you will pay for it over 36 months at 24% interest. Amish financial decisions are evaluated on a generational timeline. Will this land serve my grandchildren? Will this barn still stand when my son is my age? Will this business model be viable when the next generation inherits it? This single shift, from quarterly thinking to generational thinking, changes almost every financial decision a household makes. The car you finance for 5 years will be worth nothing when it is paid off. The land you sacrifice to buy outright will be worth more when you pass it to your children. The tool you buy once and maintain carefully outlasts 40 tools bought cheaply and replaced repeatedly. Think longer. Buy less. Keep it longer. Pass it on. Drop a comment below. Which of these 7 principles hits closest to home for you right now? I read every single one. The final principle is the one that ties all the others together. Every modern financial system, the utility grid, the banking system, the credit system, the subscription economy, is designed around one goal: to convert your time and labor into a recurring monthly payment that flows permanently in one direction: away from you. The Amish relationship with these systems is deliberate and skeptical, not because of technology. Amish communities make nuanced, deliberate decisions about which technologies serve the community and which create dependency. It is the dependency they reject, not the tool. Where a system can be replaced by ownership, they replace it. Where a bill can be eliminated by a one-time investment, they make that investment. Where a monthly payment can be converted into paid-off infrastructure, they do the work to convert it. The result over a generation is a household whose monthly obligations are near zero. No mortgage, no utility bills, no food bill that cannot be supplemented by a garden, no debt service consuming income before it can be saved or invested. This is not available to everyone immediately, but it is directionally available to anyone who begins making decisions that move toward ownership and away from permanent payment. Every rain barrel is a small step. Every paid-off tool is a small step. Every debt eliminated before a new one is taken on is a small step. The direction matters more than the speed. Here's the thing that should bother you. The 7 principles you just heard are not secret. They are not complicated. They require no special knowledge, no religious affiliation, no rural property. They are: buy assets, not lifestyle. Build community, not dependency. Watch every dollar. Build income before comfort. Share what you do not need to own alone. Think in generations. Refuse the systems designed to keep you paying. None of this is new. None of this requires a financial advisor. None of this generates a commission for anyone, which is precisely why nobody with a financial product to sell has ever sat across a table from you and walked you through it. The average American will pay more than $280,000 in interest over their lifetime. Not principal, interest. Money paid purely for the privilege of having things before they could afford them. $280,000 transferred from your lifetime of labor to the balance sheets of institutions that processed your paperwork. The Amish communities of Lancaster County and Holmes County will pay almost none of it. Not because they are smarter, because they were never told that debt was normal. Because they were never handed a credit card at 18 and told this was how adults manage money. Because they inherited a system built by people who understood that the most expensive thing a family can own is a payment they cannot escape. You were handed a different inheritance, but you are not obligated to keep it. Subscribe to Hidden Harvest, one new forgotten principle every week, the kind nobody is selling because there is no profit in it. Share this video with one person who needs to hear it. The next video is already up. It is linked right here. Watch that one next. Question 1. Personal debt reality check. What is your current monthly debt payment? Mortgage, car, credit cards, all of it added together? You do not have to share the number publicly, but sit with it for a moment. That number, multiplied by 12, is what financial freedom would put back in your pocket every year. Question 2. Community question. Do you have any version of community financial support in your life? Family lending, tool sharing, mutual aid, or has your financial life become entirely individual? Tell me below. I think the answers will surprise people. Question 3. Generational question. What financial habit did your grandparents have that your generation has mostly abandoned? I want to know what survived and what was lost. Next time, the Amish food preservation method that kept families fed through entire winters before refrigeration existed. No electricity, no freezer, no waste. The method is older than this country. It still works perfectly, and a full year's supply of preserved food costs less to set up than 1 month of grocery bills. That video is already up and linked right here.